News Radio 840 WHAS. Good Sunday morning. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show, here with you until the top of the hour. Thanks for joining us on this Sunday. With us, some great folks we always love to see. Chuck Crosby with the Crosby Law Offices, who does a great job at closings. And by the way, in addition to closings, you've heard me mention he does wills, which is great. He also can create for you a power of attorney and something else. We'll talk about other things down the road here, but foreclosure defense, helping people through rough times, isn't just a job to Chuck. It is a privilege. So we thank Chuck for being with us. 499-6360. Also here, another good friend and a great guy, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. And you can reach Brad at 844-411-TEAM. And he has another company, an offshoot of Home Team Inspection. It's Team Bug Out. What's the phone number? Because I'm jotting that down.
Yeah, the phone number is 502. It's 357-7700.
And just real quickly, if someone is with another company and they're not happy with that other company, is it easy for them to call you and then you can call the other company and cancel, or do you not want to get in the middle of that?
Well, it's been funny because a lot of the calls that we've been getting here now that termites are swarming is people who have been paying other companies for years.
Yes.
For termite coverage, and now they have termites in their house. And so in those cases, we're finding them, but then we're saying, hey, call your current company because you've got the warranty that you've been paying for years. Go take advantage of. They need to come back out and retreat. Right. So yeah, we don't want to spend anybody's money without cause.
So I kid you not, folks. Yesterday in the garage, I looked down and there's a little flying something on the floor with wings. Obviously, if it's flying, well, it could. Mm-hmm. So is that a termite?
Could be. So termite, the difference between a termite and an ant right now, the swarmers, termites have little fat bodies to them. There's no waist. The flying ants have little waists to them. Termite has two sets of wings that are the same length. Ants have two sets of wings, but the front wings are larger than the back wings. So right now you're likely seeing termite swarmers or alates.
All right. So if you go into your garage, out to your backyard, anywhere you see, again, this, you need to call Brad. And again, Team Bug Out 357-7700 is his direct. All right. And for those of you who are thinking about selling this week, next week, and beyond, May, June, July, these are the top months for selling your home. And don't believe the news media. I used to be a member of the media. Some would say I still am, but I will tell you, you cannot believe they're working 6 to 8 weeks, if not more, behind what the current market is doing. So you need to call me and I will bring you up to date. We can talk free, no obligation. We can do it in person, Zoom, or a phone call, FaceTime even. And it's just that simple. 376-5483 is my direct cell. Again, 376-5483, or go to bobsellmyhome.com. All right, let's start it off with a question. Now, we're doing our Zoom shows. That means you send us an email. We put that email into the queue, and it's easy. Bob@WeSellLouisville.com. Oh, by the way, I got to tell you, new thing on our website, WeSellLouisville.com, free computerized home estimate, but simple. Just go to WeSellLouisville.com, either on your phone or on your browser, on your computer. At the very top, you'll see it, and it's so simple. So just check it out. See if I'm not kidding you here. This is legit. Barbara sent us an email about a condo she lives in. Apparently, a management company has taken over all the responsibilities of the condo complex. So that's not so unusual, Chuck, because we hear the
no.
Right?
Yeah.
But this new condo company not returning phone calls to Barbara. Emails go unanswered. Even a certified return receipt by mail has gone unanswered. Barbara says she's frustrated because she's asking for some updates in the hallway of the condo building and nothing's been done. She's wondering what's her next step. What would you say?
Well, next step is find who the board of directors are and go directly to them and say, hey, the company that you guys are responsible for hiring isn't doing their job. We need to get on this. There are some of those management companies that are less attentive than others, so to speak. I know most of them. I have people that I'm familiar with working at most of them. Usually that's not a problem we hear. We hear about them denying things a lot. We hear about them saying, oh yeah, I got your email, and then sitting on it, but not even picking up letters. That's unusual. That's a go to the board. and say, hey guys, help.
Well, I can tell you from personal experience in talking to a number of folks who own condominiums who have problems with the management company. And
Oh yeah, problem.
so
Everybody's got a problem. with
everybody's got a
management
problem.
company.
So
Yeah.
I'm not so surprised at what Barbara writes, but I think your idea of going to the board, the condo association board,
the difference here is you're saying she sent a letter,
a letter, certified letter, which is
certified letter that doesn't get picked up. That's where it goes off of the norm.
Yeah.
Usually it's like I got your letter. We'll think about it, and then you never hear from them again.
Right.
That's all over the place. But anyhow.
I know. Barbara, we wish you got the blessing of Chuck. And in a worst case scenario, he does a lot of this stuff. So you may want to reach out. We'll give his number again and you can talk. All right. We move over to Brad Lawler. Patricia writes in, this is right up your alley, Brad. She has a backyard and in the summertime and spring, she's got mosquitoes. So the first thing she wants to know is what can be done to naturally get rid of the mosquitoes other than, I guess, pulling out a can of Raid. So she's apparently she heard that citronella candles and plants work to keep mosquitoes away. Is that true? That's the first part.
Okay, so the answer to that is yes, they do. There's also another essential oil out there that people are using. Peppermint is another one that is sprayed. What I will tell you, though, is the essential oils break down very, very quickly. So I don't know exactly how you apply. We use a natural product, but that lasts for about 10 days versus our more synthetic product for mosquito prevention, which lasts 21 days. So the problem with the natural products is they break down more quickly. They are susceptible to rain and other, moisture problems break them down even quicker than that. So what they may want to do is look at what are called, there's a lot of different products out there, but you could go online and look up mosquito traps, and mosquito traps are a way to kind of bait the females into a little trap, and then they lay the eggs in the trap, and then the mosquitoes can't get out of it. So that's another natural way to do it without spraying any sort of chemicals out there. Again, the challenge for the natural products is you just have to do it very, very consistently, very, very often. There's some electronic products called thermocells that are.
I think I got something like that.
Yeah, they're a little bit pricier for them. You have to spread them out about every 20 feet, but thermocells also will keep them at bay without any sort of chemicals. I will say that the chemicals that we're using, I mean, the toxicity levels extraordinarily low on them. They're not completely non-toxic, but you just want to make sure read the label. I mean, if you're going to a Home Depot to pick up a natural product, just because it says natural on the label doesn't mean necessarily that it's just like an essential oil. They're naturally derived chemicals is oftentimes what you see on.
So you brought up an interesting point. Okay, hold on. So back up for a second. At the beginning of this answer, you mentioned there are essential oils. Mm-hmm. So those diffusers that you put with the water that bubbles out, and you can add those
oil
essential
diffusers.
Yeah. So could you not take that and put that in your? I mean, maybe you need a lot of them or more than one, right?
You do, and that's actually what a lot of people are doing. So citronella, most of people are using that as a candle. They're burning a citronella candle with the wick, which is creating that little bit of the getting the oils into the air. The other thing that's another way to do it without chemicals is turn a fan on. If you're out on your porch, turn the fan on. Mosquitoes aren't going to flying against it. The flies aren't going to fly against it.
Hold it. Are you reading my question? Because this is her next part. Okay.
Is it? Okay. I'm sorry.
I'm showing this to the camera. By the way, if you want to see a rebroadcast, go to LouisvilleAnswers.com. That's LouisvilleAnswers.com. That'll take you to the rebroadcast of the video version of the show. So Patricia goes on to ask, she says she heard that using a fan works to keep mosquitoes away. How big does the fan need to be just in case? And does it need to be pointed into the backyard or away from the backyard?
Usually what I would do is I would just keep it near, where the people are. You want a little bit of a breeze blowing, across the people, because as long as there's a breeze blowing across you, the mosquitoes are going to have to be wind driven into you to land on you. So, it doesn't have to be very big.
I always wondered about that.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be very big. Yeah, just little oscillating fans, all you need.
Just so you
Little
know,
box fan.
just a little oscillation. So just so you know that Chuck and I both have very sensitive skin to mosquitoes. So any help that you can provide to both of us and all of our listeners who also are mosquito afraid. Yeah. Thank you. All right, we're moving forward here. We go to Chuck again. Peter's question and a warning for everybody listening. Yeah, Chuck, this is a tough one. He says he built a playhouse off his deck last year with no issues. But last month, he's writing us in this email, he received a violation letter in the mail from the homeowner association saying that the playhouse had not been approved by their committee, and he never filed plans to have it approved. And he's being told the playhouse has to come down. So he's wondering, any recourse? Can he appeal?
Well, first off, you got to find out if what they're saying is accurate. Just because they say it doesn't make it true. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've got to get up all the rules and regulations. They may be treating it as a shed as opposed to a playhouse. Playhouse sounds a bit more innocuous, but I know my granddaughter has a playhouse that is practically an entire new structure.
Had it been permanent, Chuck? Had it been permitted? I say just no. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to look and see what is it they're saying is wrong with it. Okay, just because they say it's wrong doesn't make it true. So find out what makes it right or wrong. See if you followed through those steps or if it even applies. If it does apply and it is incorrectly placed and you do need a permit, typically file the permit and see if you can get it retroactive. The people on the board, HOA boards are, all different. Some are neighborly, some are a little more authoritarian. Just have to deal with it that way. And if they say it has to come down and there's nobody else in the neighborhood that's done this and you've gone through all the due diligence on that sort of thing, well, the rules are the rules.
Does it look bad, Chuck, if you take each one of the board members an apple pie? What do you think?
Being on a board, I don't know that I would mind.
So Chuck Crosby told me Chuck said bring an apple pie or take an order from Costco's pie department.
Well, seriously, there are a lot of boards out there that are authoritarian in nature. Or they have one or two members that are authoritarian in nature.
Yeah.
But they're your neighbors. Treat them like neighbors. Say, hey guys, oops, I didn't think this fit in that definition. That's why we didn't do it. We weren't trying to go around you. And here, I've filled out this application. It's put in properly. Let's just do it retroactively. How about that? That usually works. But like I said, if you need somebody to interpret rules and regulations and master deeds, well, I do that too.
Okay. So, and we're going to give Chuck's number out in a second because we're taking a break in a moment. Just a reminder, before you hire anybody, and it doesn't matter if it is somebody to work on your landscaping or your driveway or your house, or to sell your home or home inspection or even a closing attorney, it's really important to check to see reviews. Now, I don't know if Chuck or Brad have reviews posted, but we do. As a real estate team, we're really proud of our reviews. And you can't scam the reviews because Zillow and Google do not allow that. In case you ever want to try it, they do not. So we made it easy. If you go to LouisvilleZillow.com or LouisvilleGoogle.com, it'll take you right to our review page. So you get a chance to see. We're really proud of that and how we treat our sellers and our buyers. So if by chance you're thinking about selling this year or next, do some research. Make sure you look at the reviews of the agent or agents you're thinking of hiring, and then pick based on the reviews of how people are treated by that team and the team leader, like myself. We're going to take a break. By the way, you can reach me for selling your home at 376-5483, Bob Sokoler. Also, if you'd like to get a hold of Chuck Crosby, and we've talked about a variety of things, he also, by the way, handles commissioner sales, and so that's another good source to help you walk through that. Chuck can be reached at 499-6360. And then Brett Lawler, who owns Home Team Inspection Service at 844-411-TEAM. In case you don't know, they are the number one team in the country, the number one home team inspection team, 8 years in a row. And now he has Team Bug Out, and you can reach the Team Bug Out team at 357-7700. That's 7700. Did we give you enough numbers? We'll give them to you again in a moment. We'll take a break. Back in a moment on News Radio 840 WHAS. News Radio 840 WHAS. Bob Sokoler, the Louisville Real Estate Show. We're here with the top of the hour coming up in a moment. A couple of landscaping mistakes that make home buyers walk the other way. We'll talk about that first. We welcome back Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service, 844-411-TEAM, and Team Bugout at 357-7700. We know what Home Team does. Team Bugout does the same thing but gets rid of bugs in your backyard and your house. So that's a good thing to know. Also here, Chuck Crosby. He's the owner of the Crosby Law Offices. In addition to doing phenomenal jobs at closing, because he keeps you really entertained. He also helps you with wills, and he's done one for me. I will tell you, he does a great job. Also, power of attorneys and other things. You can reach Chuck anytime on his cell phone at 499-6360. That's 502 area code. 499-6360. And if you're thinking of selling your home, and we thank Barbara Corcoran, who's a friend, and we just had a great time the last time Greg and I went up to New York to shoot a commercial, which will be airing shortly. As I drove her around, more about that down the road. But you can reach me and to get to Barbara, not really, but just through me, at 376-5483. That's 376-5483. All right, so selling a home is all about first impressions. We know that. Don't let potential buyers pass on your place because landscaping isn't up to par. So a quick rundown of some things that will make buyers walk the other way. For example, elaborate water features. The buyers are thinking, oh, this is going to be too much work. Invasive plants. If they see like bamboo in the front yard, that's going to be a problem down the road. Also, a huge lawn. It may be beautiful, but then they're thinking, who am I going to get to mow my lawn? By the way, next week on our show, we're talking about mistakes that all of us do when we come to cutting lawns. Then you'll be an eye-opener. You'll be happy to hear that. That's next week. Also, if by chance a poorly constructed fire pit, that means work and repairs. Too many annuals, that means that they're going to have to replace them every year. If they see dog urine spots on the lawn, that could be a problem. Unconventional plant containers, they got to think about changing those out. A messy yard, not good. You know that. High maintenance trees and shrubs, it's costly. Overspending on landscaping if they see so much landscaping that they're not going to be able to do it themselves. And then plants that attract pests. A sloping yard, which means water intrusion, and we've got a question coming up down the road on that, and inadequate drainage on a house. That could be a problem as well. So those are some of the things that make buyers walk away, or if not run away from a house, if you're going to list it. And we can always talk about how to get around that. Back to the questions. And again, if you'd like to get your home on the market, call. You can actually email me or bob@wesellouisville.com or go to bobsellmyhouse.com. All right, so Brad, Tony buying a new home, had a home inspector look at the house yesterday. He cited something called, here's that question that we referred to in what I just told you about, a negative grade to the house. All right, negative grade. The builder says that's ridiculous. He builds the house like this all the time. So now Tony's wondering, so what is a negative grade for all of us? And then what problems could be caused by the negative grade? And why does the building say, hey, it's no real problem?
Yeah, so negative grade just means that the water is sloped to run back towards the house, not away from the house. So the challenge is anytime that you have water pressing up against the house, it can't drain away from it. Then you get what's called hydrostatic pressure that pushes against the foundation, which will move the foundation. So if you're on a basement, it could potentially crack a wall, bow a wall. You'll see those long horizontal cracks where basement walls break because of hydrostatic pressure built up on them. So yeah, you need to make sure that there is a positive fall. So you're wanting the water to run away from the foundation, away from the house, back into the yard, back into the hard surfaces like your driveway. So, the water is, guided down a driveway. Now, MSD is going to just yell at me for saying that because they want to make sure that it goes into areas where the water can soak into the ground, but that's not always possible around a house. But ideally, that would be the way that they're structured, where all the water would go back in the grass, but not directly against the foundation of the home.
So then why would the builder just say that's the way he builds them all the time? Ignorance on this?
I don't know. Yeah. It's like the builders that I see that actually put grass where it half covers, the basement windows. they build the sod up so high. And I've had some builders say, well, it's eventually going to settle once the dirt compacts. And so they start that way, assuming that it's going to fall. But, until that happens, if it really does happen, then you've got water coming in through your windows because your grade is higher than the window level.
Okay. So just so you know, real quickly, 2005, had been in the business a year, had a buyer, high-end priced home, really well-known builder, buys the house. Couple of 8 months later, the concrete floor in the basement's heaving. And the exact problem you described, it was hydrostatic pressure because the builder had not put an escape point for water underneath the foundation.
Yeah.
And so the water was building up underneath pressure and pushing up, which they rectified, but not before it was a pain in the rear. And he had to,
Oh yeah,
So
it's messy.
it's a real thing. Yeah.
Messy and expensive to repair that.
And the thing is, inspectors can't forecast that because there's no way to know that there's no out for the water pressure. Yeah. So,
Right.
All right, we move over to Chuck. Stanley lives on the east side of Louisville, and he watched his neighbor, get a load of this, Chuck. He watched his neighbor remove a surveyor's boundary marker. Stanley saw this, and he writes and he says he's not sure why the neighbor did it, but he wants to know, is it against the law to do that, and what action can he take?
Well, I don't know that it's against the law. I can't say as I've ever actually heard of a case where somebody files a criminal complaint for that sort of thing. That's more of a civil wrong. That's where if he goes and he plants that in another place and he's trying to steal land, that's when it becomes an issue. Just pulling up the stake, well, that's annoying. And always, when you say the stake, 9 times out of 10, when I have someone call me up and say, "Oh, I've got the stake in my yard, I know right where it's," they're talking about the blasted little stick with a red flag on it.
Yeah, not a pin,
not
a pin.
not the pin, the rebar with the cap. That's all. If you can haul that sucker out, you're a better man than I am, Gunga Din. Removing the flaggy things, that's whatever. You're going to do that at some point, I would imagine. But if somebody was literally pulling the pin and moving them over and sinking them in another spot, A, really easy to prove that's wrong. And B, you can sue them for that.
Brett, did he just
trying to steal your land?
Did Chuck just call you or me Gunga Din?
You, sir.
Was it me?
You, sir.
All
That
right.
was you.
That's my new nickname, Gunga Din.
My Rudyard Kipling fetish has come out.
I am going to have to change my Zoom handle now to Gunga Din.
Gunga Din.
All right, we move on. So Brad Jackson was writing in. He was really upset. He's buying a home, having it inspected, and apparently the next door neighbor came over while the inspector was there. Okay, get that? Inspection being done. Next door neighbor comes over. The neighbor asks for the new owner's phone number and tell me at first if this is right or wrong. The inspector gives it to the neighbor.
No.
Not supposed to, right?
No.
Yeah. The neighbor proceeds to call Jackson, the guy who's writing in this email, saying that the neighbors next to him are noisy and rowdy, and he wanted to know if Jackson was also noisy and rowdy. So obviously this doesn't bode well for having a good relationship with the neighbor. Did the inspector go too far, revealing Jackson's information to the buyer? So you say no. Give us a little more detail on that.
Well, no, I would say, I mean, if we have neighbors come talk to our inspector teams pretty regularly. I mean, it's probably not too many weeks go by where we don't have a neighbor that comes over to help us with our inspection. Whether it's talking about how water flows, on rainy days, or, problems with snow and ice and how slippery the driveways are. Lots of stuff. Or they tell us about previous damage, about trees that fell on houses and the roof's been fixed, and go check that. But we, as far as the information, our agreement, inspector's agreement, is between the buyer of the home and the inspector. That's it. Those are the only two parties involved. Now, with Home Team, the buyer does give us the right to pass the inspection report to the buyer's agent, but that's it. We don't give anything to listing agents. We don't give anything to sellers. We don't give anything to neighbors
or mortgage companies. You don't give anything to mortgage companies,
no,
right? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So that would be just something. I know what happens with us most often, Bob, is we will typically, if a neighbor comes out and requests that kind of information, we'll point them to the sign in front of the house and say, you may want to call that person to try to get information on that, and let them talk to the listing agent, about it. And but yeah, our teams wouldn't give out any sort of information like that.
Well, and if a neighbor calls me as the listing agent, you know what I say?
Mhm.
Say, listen, send me an email and I'll pass it by the seller, but I can't promise
Exactly.
anything because that's
That's right.
confidential information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the way, we have almost
Chuck
8.
didn't like that. Chuck didn't
No,
like
yeah,
that
did-
response.
No, I can't believe they did that. I mean,
Yeah, so neither can I. Yeah.
that's crazy.
That is crazy. We have about 8 years of radio shows that we've accumulated, 300 plus shows that we've done. If you ever want to listen to any of them, we make it actually easy. Go to Louisville. I lost it on my thing here. It's Louisville Radio. I'll give it to you another time. It's WeSellLouisvilleRadio.com. There we go. It's WeSellLouisvilleRadio.com. Sometimes I have too much information. We are actually out of time, and I appreciate all of our folks being here. All three of us. Greg, by the way, is on working assignment already this morning. Again, if you're thinking about selling your home, we would love to be able to help you. Now is the time to talk about at least getting it ready for April, May, June, July, and beyond. We do free no obligation, no expense to you. I'll come out. We'll talk on the phone. We'll do Zoom, whatever it takes. Call me at 376-5483. Also, our thanks to Chuck Crosby of the Crosby Law Offices. And again, he does phenomenal jobs at getting your home closed, which is so important, and it's entertaining and it goes fast. And he always asks, and you can ask him, what is the meaning? He'll ask, actually, are there any other questions? And my suggestion always is to ask, what is the meaning of life, right? That's where it goes.
I get that a lot now.
I know you do. I know. So you could also do, he can do wills for you, commissioner sales, foreclosure defense, landlord, tenant problems. He's the guy. And you can reach Chuck at 499-6360. Also, Brad Lawler, owner of Home Team Inspection Service. They come in as a team. They are the #1 home team inspection service here in the country, 8 years in a row. You can reach Brad and his team at 844-411-TEAM. And don't forget Team Bug Out. If you're having any sort of pest problems, termites, there's a new company, but it comes with a lot of experience built in with Brad and his team. 357-7700 is the number to reach out for them. Guys, thank you all for being here. Thank you for listening to us. We wish you a great Sunday, and we'll see you next Sunday right here on News Radio 840 WHAS.